All right. Zakk Wylde and Zakk Sabbath are going to be at the Regency Ballroom with Zoso and the Iron Maidens Sunday, December 1st. Tickets are on sale now at access.com. That's AXS.com. And good morning, Zakk. Where are you at now?
I'm out in California right now, just with the compound, just having my Valhalla Java. So my Odin
Same,
Force
dude.
blend for the day, yeah. Gonna hit the iron, then get ready for the Zakk Sabbath dance-a-thon coming up with Zoso and the Iron Maidens. So it's awesome.
I got to be honest, the weather looks a lot nicer at your end of California than mine right now.
Where you at? You up in San Fran?
Yeah.
I dig it. Well, what was it getting chilly up there or what?
It's a little cold, but honestly, I'm a little worried about the wind noise. Mother Nature might be commenting on your interview a little bit, so hopefully that's
Oh
not
boy,
too much.
nothing wrong with that. But
I think
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, you have played venues of every size and shape, and you're gonna be at the Regency in San Francisco, which puts you within like sweating distance on people. And I was wondering what's more special about playing clubs and theaters for you compared to like stadiums and amphitheaters, because each one has their benefits, but you're gonna be in a dirty club and it's gonna be awesome.
No, I think I think if you ask any musician, I think a lot of the times, uh, the really small ones, you always either remember them the most. I remember even with Zakk Sabbath, I remember I think we were in, might have been in Maryland, and I remember we were playing this small club underground. I forget where it was, but it was just, I remember the pipes over my head, the water pipes over my head, like literally dripping because it was so insanely hot between the body heat and the fact that I had nowhere to go. There was no AC on. I mean, it was literally beyond brutal. And I remember, looking at Joe back there playing the drums, like going, I mean, it was literally like being in a sauna. I mean, and literally the pipes were actually dripping. But it was pretty insane. But like you said, I'm talking about that one right now, just because you're not going to get that, with Pantera when we're playing with Metallica at MetLife Stadium. So.
There's no
But
sweat rain
no,
at MetLife.
I love it all though. I mean, I really do. If you ask any musician, as long as somebody shows up, whether you're playing in a phone booth or you're playing Madison Square Garden, it just, as long as you're playing and you're a musician, you love playing. So that's all that matters at the end of the day.
There's no bad house if you got a good crowd.
Exactly.
So I just rewatched the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, and I thought it was obviously amazing watching Ozzy go in, having been like the godfather of all things that we do. And I wondered, because you were on tour with Pantera and Metallica, and that you and Robert and Wolfgang all participated in playing Ozzy songs at the induction ceremony. Did you guys have any kind of like pre-induction hang time of like, dude, you remember how this goes, or hey, what are you gonna wear?
No, yes, and we were all borrowing our eyeliner and rouge and our lip gloss so it would match our fishnets and high heels. But no, I mean, it's just we rehearsed for, we had like 2 days where we could actually just go over the songs and figure out, the tune. So I mean, yeah, it was no big deal. I mean, it's like, uh, I don't think it's kind of ingrained in my DNA at this point. I don't think I'm gonna forget how to play "Mama, I'm Coming Home" or, "No More Tears." So
I'm pretty sure if we ask Barbara, she'll
yeah,
say
I
you
was
literally
like, I
play it
think
in
I
your
can
sleep.
remember those. So but no, it was great. Wolfie crushed it. I mean, it was great hanging with all the guys. So between Maynard, Billy Idol, and I mean, all the guys that were doing it. So it's just like, that I had seen before. So it was definitely cool seeing everybody.
I have never heard Billy Idol reach that range. He sounded completely different to me. I was
Yeah,
amazed.
I mean, all the guys, it, it definitely. I mean, for a lot of the fellas, it wasn't in their wheelhouse, singing that kind of stuff. So I mean, it was just like the fact that they got up there and Joey Roll and all the guys and gave it their best shot. So I mean, that's all that matters anyway. They had the balls to get up there and do it.
Did anything happen backstage that was a like a fun story, or was it mostly business and hugs?
No, just everybody just chilling out. It was like super mellow and yeah, it was just no, there wasn't any like it wasn't a Caligula fest backstage. It wasn't like an eyes wide shut party going on backstage. No, there was none of that shenanigans going
You
on.
never
No,
know
everybody.
with an institution like the Hall of Fame. I mean,
Yeah, no, it was just like everybody chilling, and then like you pretty much just stay out of the way because of the production. I mean, the production's like insane. You know what I mean? I'm saying as far as uh, with all the bands that are on, and that it's just like wheeling everybody in, trying to make sure that everything goes on time and everything like that. So I mean, it's kind of like all the production people are just walking on eggshells backstage, just trying to make sure everything. You just stay out of the way, you know.
speaking of giant production, I noticed that Chad Smith had the John Bonham style gong behind him, even though it wasn't necessary for any of the songs, which I love. I feel like that gong is kind of like the same thing that a guitar player has when they get their first set of Marshall stacks behind them. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Well,
the way
we did
God
have it
made
up
it.
there. Well, it was just in case we broke into uh, Bohemian Rhapsody was going to happen, and you never know when somebody might just yell it out at while you're playing a keg party just to break into that one. So you have it at the end, so you could use the gong. So yeah, you might need it for that.
So, does Zoso have a Bonham gong on tour with you guys? Is there room for that?
Yeah, I think so. I think Bev, yeah, he has his gong with him. So I mean, they're amazing. I've known the guys for probably like 8 years now. So but they're amazing. I mean, they truly are. I mean, it's just like they crush it all the time. And then the Iron Maidens are amazing too. So we just had all the both of them out on the Berserkers. So it was great seeing everybody. And they crushed it. And so we were just thinking, it was just like, man, when we do this Zakk Sabbath tour, we should all go out together. So here we are.
So that's how you came up with the package. It wasn't like a booking agent going, "Hey, let's put some tribute bands together." It was you going, "Hey, I love these guys. Let's do this."
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, me and Blasker were just talking about it, and it was just like, yeah, it'd be great just having everybody out on the road. It'll be killer.
Now, you are crazy busy with your schedule. It seems like there's a nonstop Zakk here, Zakk here, Zakk here, Zakk here.
Go ahead.
Who keeps track of that for you? How do you handle all that? And then go, can I also throw a Zakk Sabbath in there?
Um, well, no, it's just I have to buy my girlfriend Jordache jeans and Candy's shoes, so I got to keep working. See, I mean, I like bringing her out on when I bring her to the movies, so I can afford a popcorn and a soda pop, and then I can get her a slice of pizza. So you got to put in the work. So, you girls don't like to be disappointed.
No, we really don't.
No, no. That's what I got to do.
So you and I are only about 5 years apart. So I think for my generation, we kind of discovered Black Sabbath after we discovered Ozzy. And for me, like my first Black Sabbath introduction was Mob Rules in the heavy metal movie. And I had a complete disconnect that Ozzy sang for Black Sabbath back then. Because, it was the 80s, there was no internet. And I didn't have magazines, and those magazines weren't on my grocery store shelves. Did you retroactively discover Sabbath, or were you a Sabbath guy first and then an Ozzy guy?
No, I was in the Sabbath first. So,
Yeah.
I was like around 11. I started, I was listening to Sabbath, uh, and then obviously when they broke up, it was and then we were like, Ozzy's got a new band, and that'd been when I just first started playing guitar, getting serious about guitar. And they were like, oh, they got this guy Randy Rhoads, and he's amazing. So it was like I remember vividly all of it. It's just a super exciting time. And then my first concert I ever saw was Mob Rules at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. So yeah, without a doubt, it was amazing. So when the lights went down and it was crushing. So yeah, but that was my Sabbath experience. But I found out about Ozzy with Sabbath first. I didn't find out about him, solo, and then went back. It is funny because it's like people's introductions to things. I remember Dario, who plays with us. I remember, for him, he's because he's younger. It was Van Hagar first, and then he went back and to all the Dave records. So it depends on even with me. I remember when I first heard Elton John doing "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds" on Sonny and Cher show in '75. I thought that was one of his songs. I was just like, our next door neighbors, the Smiths, had 11 kids, 6 boys, 5 girls, and Scotty was my buddy. He was the youngest. His older brother was 44 years old, and we were like 11, 12 years old. So, but I remember, yeah, I went over there. I said, "Oh man, I heard this Elton John song. It's amazing, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds." He was like, "That's a Beatles song, you moron," and they beat me profusely. And then, after that, your reference point. I remember we went to see James Bond, Moonraker, with Roger Moore. And I was like, "Oh yeah, we just saw James Bond. It was amazing." And he goes, "That's Roger Moore. Wait, that's a James Bond. Sean
Yeah.
Connery's James Bond." And they beat me profusely again. So I took a beating a lot. So I after that, at that point, I just never talked again.
Well, and now with kids, with the internet, everything happens at once. There's no chronology involved. Everything is just kind of like you put one person's name in and you get everything they've ever done. And when I put your name in and I kind of like do the Price is Right scroll of your discography, I noticed that you are re-releasing or releasing the Zakk Sabbath versions of all the Black Sabbath albums. And I'm thinking that there's going to be some kids out there that come to a Zakk Sabbath show and rediscover albums of Black Sabbath that they didn't listen to because they knew Black Sabbath existed, obviously, but you're bringing it out as new music to them.
Yeah, well, good. I mean, I just like me with the Elton John stuff. I mean, or it'd be like I remember, you know, or Guns N' Roses putting out "Knocking on Heaven's Door." I'm sure like my nephew thought that was a Guns N' Roses song. He didn't know it was a Bob Dylan song. So, but then you find out the other artists, the original guys that wrote it. So, as long as you get into it, it's a reference point. It's keeping Sabbath out there. It's all good.
So speaking of Dario, after you were like the anointed one, chosen guitar player of Ozzy Osbourne, it's a really exclusive group. How does the anointed guitar player choose a guitar player?
Um, well, no, Dario, he can make an amazing chicken piccata. Also, his chicken parmesan is amazing as well. Being that he's Italian, so
It
that was
wasn't the
pretty
bell
much
bottoms.
that was pretty much the qualifications. I mean, the guitar playing, and just to make sure girls really think he's sexy. So we know sex sells, and who's really listening to the music anyway. So yeah,
So he fits right in.
yeah, it's just, those are the criteria. Pretty much, these are the main things we're concerned about. But no, Dario's amazing. I mean, he plays piano, he sings. Now he's got his new band, Dark Chapel. So, and he's producing that. So, I mean, he does it all. He's completely marriage material for all the ladies out there. He can do his taxes. He does laundry. He does dishes, makes his bed. He does it all. This guy he's perfect. He's a complete package. But no,
Catch.
Dario's amazing. So but no, because like whenever if I'm playing guitar, he can play piano, and when I'm playing piano, he can shred all the solos. He's amazing, hands down. And he sings too. So, and like you said, he does dishes, his laundry, does it all.
How did he get on your radar?
Actually, Blasco actually brought everybody put him on my radar. He even with Jeffy, Father Jeff on the drums, he was playing within this moment and everything like that. And he was like, when the cover, when Father Chad wasn't playing with us, Chad had, he was jamming with some other people because he couldn't do it. So it was like when Jeff had to fill in for Chad, that was because of Blasco. Just the connections, people, and I think that's how it works with everybody. It's just like, you know, uh, if you need somebody for something, it's just, well, bro, I got one of my buddies that actually does this. So, you know, I think with everything, you know, you get somebody to do the roofing on your house. It's like, Zach, I know one of my friends does that. Okay, let me hire him, you know? So,
So it's completely the opposite of how you ended up in Ozzy, but also kind of the same, right? Because I mean, you
but
you
yeah, I
heard
mean,
on.
well, even with the Ozzy thing, it's all connections and it's all who you know. I mean, it really is the truth. I mean, that's the story of life. You know, because I was playing in clubs, and I remember, you know, when I was with Zyrus, when we were jamming and we were playing at Close Encounters, there was like 10 people in the place, and I mean, that's being kind. But you know, it was just like Dave saw me playing. Dave Feld. I still talk to Davey all the time, so he was just like, "Hey, did you ever think about auditioning for Ozzy?" I'm like, "Well, no. I thought about, you know, winning the lottery too, and you know, hanging out with Jimmy Page and going for a slice of pizza. But I don't know how I'm getting in touch with that. I'm making any of this happen." So he was like, "No, my buddy Mark Weiss, and Mark's a legendary photographer. So you know, all those
I love
pictures of
Mark.
Ozzy with the pink tutu on and the boxing gloves and all those, you know, the Circus magazine covers. And I mean, Mark's just a legendary photographer. So he goes, Mark's my buddy. He goes, if you can get me a tape or a picture, I'll get it to Mrs. Osbourne. So like right there, that's, you know, if I hadn't run into Dave, I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
I'm a host on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and Mark Weiss brings his book on the cruise and appears and talks about the photography, and it's amazing. He's a great guy. I did not know that he helped facilitate you into Ozzy, though. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Him and
So it is all
Mark
who
and
you
Dave,
know.
got the tape to Mrs. Osbourne. So yeah, without a doubt. So it was like I said, it's all connections. I think that's how it is with everybody.
Well, speaking of connections, you are on tour also with Pantera right now as the touring guitar player. And are you guys mostly like flying in and flying out to gigs? It seems like it's all, it's not really on tour, right? You kind of fly in
Yeah,
for
I mean,
Metallica,
well,
then you fly in and do a full tour
we're
with like
getting ready to
festivals.
do a yeah, we're getting ready to do a full blown tour over in Europe pretty soon. So after the Zakk Sabbath run ends in January, you know, like January 12th, I think a week later we're doing uh, you know, the Pantera celebration rolls. So I think we're going to be over in Europe for I think 6 weeks, and so I'm looking forward to that. And then after that run, Zakk Sabbath plays over there as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I love when I'm over in Europe as well. So it's going to be a great time.
So everybody wants to know how this Pantera celebration is going to continue in the next couple of years. Is it something that is going to be preserved in amber with what you guys are doing now, or maybe when you're sitting around, not sitting around, but when you're on tour together and you're all in the same bus or in the same hotel, is there going to be some writing that takes place, potential live album, that sort of thing?
Well, no, it's all up to, you know, Philip and Rex. So yeah, I mean it's real. I mean it's real easy peasy. I mean we just hang around and, you know, if Rex is just like, hey, fellas, let's just put this in the set or whatever, or Phil's like, yo, let's try this or whatever, then we, you know, uh, me, Charlie, learn it, and then we'll put it in the set. So that's where it's at. But it's just it's a great hang because everybody in the crew and everybody out there, we've all known each other for years. So I mean, even with the crew people, it's just like whether they've been out with Ozzy when I was rolling it, you know, on the No More Tears tour, you know, everybody knows everybody. So it really is like a huge family vibe out on the thing. So, you know, it's a great time for sure. And seeing so
I
many
was gonna,
people taking a trip down memory lane, you know, the Pantera faithful. And then, you know, that had saw Pantera back when they were playing clubs in front of 5 people, you know, so you have that, you have the Pantera faithful taking a trip down memory lane. And then you have all the new kids, which is amazing because I mean, Phil, every night he's just like, how many people saw Pantera back in the day? And you know, like you said, you have the Pantera faithful, and then when he goes, how many people? This is the first time hearing these songs live. It really is mind blowing how many young kids because they never, you know, when the band ended, they just hear about the when the guys took a break, they hear about the legend of Pantera. You know, like not seeing like the legend of Sabbath, and I never got a chance to see Sabbath. So when they got back together, it was just like, wow. Now I can go see him with Ozzy and Bill and Tony and Geezer back when they did the Ozfest back then. That was like a huge big deal, you know, for everybody that never got a chance to see it because you were too young. So it's just, I think it's a beautiful thing, and you're keeping Dime and Vinny's, you know, what they created with Philip and Rex, this amazing thing. So you know, that's what I think it's a great thing. It's beautiful.
So it's basically a fluid thing. It is what it is now, and if it keeps going, great. And if it changes, or if the guys decide to do something different with it, then you're all on board.
Yeah, I mean, so you know, for 2025, we're rolling right now. It's just going to be all Pantera all year long. So you know, that's what's going on right now. Go over to
I saw
Europe, then we'll be back in the States, and then we have a bunch of Metallica shows. So yeah, it's awesome.
I saw you guys twice on the Metallica tour, and then I was at Aftershock, and it's a very different vibe. That big stadium, kind of somebody else's stage with a shorter set versus the Pantera headline show. Um, if is that, can you tell people, because that's what I kind of want to tell people, like if you're gonna go see Pantera with Metallica, fantastic, but also if you're somebody who didn't see Pantera back in the day, you kind of need to go again to get the full experience. Because at Aftershock I saw like Sonny and Eddie Muscles and Grady and all these people that I remember from the mid 90s. And
Oh
you're
yeah,
right,
totally.
it's 100% family, and it's as much Pantera as it could be Pantera without the brothers. And that just warms my heart. My cold black heart just explodes.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Weedy, you know, we got Rita out there. Yeah, everybody. It's just, and you
Yeah.
know, Rita has, you know, selling all the dime bag experience and everything like that. She brings a whole trailer out here with her the whole time. So you know, it just like you said, we're celebrating Dime and Vinny every night. It's awesome.
Is Rita going to be in Europe with you too?
Yeah, I'm sure Rita will be popping over there, without a doubt.
Oh, fantastic.
You know, because she usually has the whole dime
Yes.
bag set up every show. So it's awesome.
And she does that at festivals with or without Pantera too. I mean, she's really been out there, boots on the ground, keeping the legacy alive. Not that it needed help, but she has definitely been out there, just representing this whole time. And
Yeah,
it's
without a
just
doubt. Like
been
when I do the Jimi Hendrix experience, it's you know, it's awesome.
bringing metal
I
to the
mean,
masses.
totally. She's doing the same thing with Dime, which is beautiful.
So when it comes to keeping metal alive for the masses, who are some of the new guitar players that you think are worth watching? And who are some of the building block guitar players you think that some kids might need to or might want to rediscover in the whole like Google search of what's good with music?
Well, I mean, well, you got Father Richie Faulkner, uh, Jared James Nichols. My one son is really digs Tim Henson. He's like insane. And then no, it truly is awesome how many great guitar players, you know, even on Instagram and stuff like that. I think I remember a while ago somebody was like, "Oh yeah, guitars, you know, dead," or what. I was like, "What rock are you living under?" I was just like, "You apparently you're not on Instagram or any social medias where you're seeing any of these younger guys playing." So,
Or at a
uh,
Guitar Center on a
which
Saturday?
is really, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, which is a really an awesome thing. So, I mean, you know, because I mean, some of these guys have just absolutely mind blowing technique and everything like that. So, you know, they're putting the work in, and it's awesome to see.
Who would be some of the building block guitar players that you think kids today may not be aware of that they should try to rediscover? Like who's the real Google search that kids who love guitar rock music should know if they don't?
I mean, it's not that they should know. I mean, you got to play just whatever it is that you love and what moves you. You know, that's what you should be playing. But you know, on your own, I mean, I think anybody, if you have a love of the instrument, if you have a love for anything, So you always go back and see who came first. I mean, I'm just saying, it's just like if you're into baseball and you love Derek Jeter, where I mean, you go back and you're going to find out who Mickey Mantle is, who Lou Gehrig is, who Babe Ruth is. You know what I mean? So, uh, for me, it would always be. Now that's obviously before the internet, but it was just like when Randy Rhoads. I remember somebody was like, uh, like Dougie's older brothers. I mean, my one buddy Scotty, Dougie was older brother was like, I showed him, because I was into Randy Rhoads. So he just goes, "Oh man, I thought that was Mick Ronson. That guy must really dig Mick Ronson." I was like, I never heard of Mick Ronson. So then I went and found out that, because Randy was like, Mick Ronson was his guy. And, with the Les Paul and then the haircut and the whole night, I was just like, wow. And it was just, but that's how you learn. You go back or you'd read articles and then, Randy saying he liked this guy or he liked that guy. And then you go check them out, but, yeah, I think that's up to any, the individual. You educate yourself on the history of things too. Yeah, I just don't understand how. Well, I remember even when the first time I started playing a Les Paul, I didn't realize it's named after Les Paul. I just thought that was the name of the guitar. I mean, it's like, no, that's actually a person. I was just like, oh, okay. And then you check it out and you find out who Les Paul is. So, uh, but no, there isn't. It's not that you need to know who Jimmy Page is and Tony Iommi and Frank Marino and Jeff Beck and Robin Trower and all these Richie Blackmore and all the, obviously. I mean, those guys are the Rock of Gibraltar and the foundation, all this stuff. But you'll find out on your own. You know what I mean? It's just like if you loved Eddie Van Halen, then you're like, oh, Eddie really loved Eric Clapton. For a younger kid, they're like, well, who's Eric Clapton? They're like, well, that was who Eddie really liked. Then you go back and you hear Cream and everything like that, and you're like, wow. So, yeah, it's just like being in the bodybuilding. I love Dorian Yates, but like, how do you not know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I didn't even know he did bodybuilding. It's like, how do you not know that? You know?
I think at this point, people don't remember that he was the governor.
Well, yeah. I mean, that is kind of funny, though, how, I noticed even with all the information, a lot of young kids don't know the history on certain things. You know what I mean? So, or not knowing Randy Rose was in Quiet Riot. It's just like, how could you not know that?
I
Yeah,
think a
so,
lot gets lost.
yeah. I mean, mind you, people, if they're interested in something, I mean, if they really love something like the Kardashians or something like that, when a TV show is huge, they can name you everybody on the show. It's just because they have an interest in it. You know what I mean? So you can't fault people. I understand.
So they'll put in the work. The kids will figure it out.
Yeah. I
They don't
mean,
need
like,
our help.
yeah, exactly. You figure it out yourself.
So at Aftershock, I saw your guitar boat, and it didn't look like you're taking a ton of axes on the road. What are you carrying these days? What's in the boat?
Uh, Fiddles. So, yeah, I got a ton of them out there. And what are you talking about? The aftershock thing with the
Yeah, was it just?
Pantera thing?
Yeah, is it how many do you have like a whole different set for each band that would track?
Um, well, no, obviously with Black Label, there's going to be more guitars because it's me and Dario. But no, there's probably I take about 8 guitars, 8 fiddles out there with me.
Some people they switch guitar every other song because they need a new tuning and they don't have time. So I
Yeah,
just
no,
wonder.
yeah, without a doubt. I mean, it's just like well, I mean, we do the VIP guitars and everything like that. So, I mean, the Pantera things uh, is definitely simplified in that it's only one tuning for the entire night. But yeah, if I want to break out different fiddles and stuff like that. But with Pantera, I just mostly use the Warhammers because it's got the Floyd on it and everything like that. They're going to be
Matches the
doing the same
outfit.
time stuff. Yeah.
Um, you joke a lot about pop artists, and I've heard you drop a ton of like Bieber and Taylor Swift jokes, but you really do listen to a much wider variety of music than
Well,
metal.
I'm not
And
joking about them. I mean, no, I mean,
yeah,
they're amazing. They're amazing at what they do. It's just obviously not the world we roll in, but no, but yeah, it's just I actually Sabrina Carpenter. She was actually over here at the house. This is probably I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. Because a buddy of ours manages her, and this is when she just started doing the Disney thing before she's where she's at now. And it's just like, yeah, she was sitting in the house playing piano with our son, with Sabatini, and it was just like, and now she's forget about it, ginormous. But I mean, that's yeah, I mean, but like actually, that's that music. I couldn't even name you anybody's songs,
What would
even
be
though they're
some
doing yeah, they're doing stadiums, and I'm like, I can't even tell you what they sound like. Well, because I mean, obviously Madonna and everything like that back in the day was on MTV, so you'd always hear it. So now there's no MTV, so it's just like it really truly is amazing. If you're not seeking it out or listening to it, it's like you wouldn't even know. That's why I always thought it was pretty amazing when somebody when Zeppelin would be on or a Sabbath, and like someone would go, "Who's? I don't know any Zeppelin." I was like, "How could you not know any Led Zeppelin?" They're like, "I don't listen to that stuff." Because they're listening to rap or whatever. So I was just like, oh, wow. But yeah, pretty much the same
That's
thing.
why I'm over here still trying to keep radio alive, brother.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, people like their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, but it used to permeate society, right? Everywhere you went, somebody had the radio on, and you would hear what was new across genres because there'd always be somebody with a different radio station on. And now everybody's got their earbuds in.
Yeah, or they're listening to what they like. No, I
Well,
agree.
what's in your earbuds lately?
Um, I think I'm pretty much like everybody else. I listen to, you listen to your staples and the stuff that you loved when you were 14 years old. So it's pretty much I'll listen to that, and then when I'm lifting, I'll just listen to like I'll put on just classic rock and stuff like that. Just mellow stuff or whatever. But and then you have on my thing, I'll put like rock hits from 1982. The Scorpions will be on there, No One Like You, and everything. But it'll play everything that was on the radio in '82, everything that was on the radio in 1971, everything that was on the radio in 1986. So this way you're just hearing a whole bunch of different things that were pretty much on the radio back then.
So I noticed that everyone kind of seems to have a place in the Wilderverse or the WCU. Dime is a saint now, and everyone's either a brother or a father or a king, or everybody's got kind of a designation. How did that start with you?
Oh, just a running joke all the time. It was just like uh, it was. I think it was either religion or something. We were just solving the problems of the world. I think Slitsy, because our buddy Slitsy's Jewish, and then we were saying like, yeah, in order to be a father, and then he was like, well, Zakk, I would be rabbi, and then I just go, just to cover everybody, whether you're a Satanist, you're an atheist, you're Catholic, you're Jewish, or whatever, we just go, oh yeah, there's our buddy Tom over there. He's a he's a Catholic rabbi, Satanist atheist. So you don't disappoint anybody or upset anybody. So you pretty much got everything covered. But yeah, and just how confused everybody is. So we just go, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. But that's how that stuff all came about.
It was just a tour joke that never went away.
Yeah, just like, Father Dom over here, you got Father Andy, you got Rabbi Andy over there. So yeah, it was just that just became the running joke, and it's still here.
Well, speaking of running jokes, I've been watching you do stage walks on Instagram for a while now, and they're
Oh yeah.
hilarious. How did that start? Where do the action figures come from? And is it to the point now where people are sending them to you and you have a choice, or is it always like the top few?
No, just us being a bunch of idiots like we always are. It's just like, man, I remember like first time I seen him, my one buddy was just like, that's got to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I go, exactly. That's why he's why Barb's with me. That's what I provide, and that's what I bring to the table. It's one of my superpowers. But yeah, so it's just the sillier it is, the better. So yeah, so obviously the ultimate stage walk. So we got the warrior, and we're whatever co-host he's got that, whether it's the Macho Man, Big Van Vader, or whoever what other classic wrestling characters I had. So I had Bubba Dudley out there with us at one time, Father Jericho, all the guys. So yeah, it's just pure comedic shenanigans. It's awesome.
Do you keep up with wrestling, or do you just have like the classics?
Well, mostly the classic guys, and obviously, Bubba Dudley and then Father Jericho over there, just because they're my buddies. But no, just, yeah, I mean, the wrestling thing is still ginormous. They just, the last WrestleMania and everything like that with Dustin Rhodes, it was beyond huge.
It's crazy because it's now either bigger or almost as big as baseball on television. Like people are watching wrestling more than they're watching regular pro sports. And I think it's coming for football next.
Well, there you go. Well, I mean, if it's good and people enjoy it, there's nothing wrong with it.
Also, speaking of Barbara Ann, the two of you have one of the longest marriages in rock and roll, and those seem to be few and far between. And I noticed that you talk about how important it is to buy her nice things, and I've heard you say in the past that the foot rubs are crucial. What would be the Zakk Wylde's, tenets for a successful long-term marriage in the rock and roll industry?
No, I mean, you have to like your situation. I mean, like, it really is the truth. I mean, because we'll talk about it with any of my buddies or uh, in that. No, like who wants to be miserable? I don't know. Especially when you get older. I mean, it's just like you can pick and choose your friends and whatever. If somebody's a tool bag, you just cut them off. Goodbye, and that's that. I mean, you just actually get up and leave the table, and never see them again. So really is the truth. Because I'm not going to argue with anybody. It's just like okay, right? Like yeah, at the end, it's just like all right, cool. You just get up and leave, and then never see them again. So you don't even get into an argument. There are no arguments. It just you just leave in silence, and that's that. Goodbye. Actually, you don't even say goodbye. You just leave.
So
Get
the
up
secret to
and
being happy is just getting out when you're not happy.
no, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I'm like in any situation you're in. I mean, if you're miserable, it sucks. I mean, like what? It's just like I'm out of here, man. And you don't even have to argue. You just get up and leave. And that's
So
that.
last but not least, what do you decide on a set list for Zakk Sabbath? I mean, this December 1st at the Regency Ballroom in San Francisco with Zoso and the Iron Maidens. How do you put that set list together? San Francisco, do you put any thought like that? Or is it kind of a static set list for the whole tour?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much like that when every band I've ever been in. I mean, whether whether we're playing with the Boss, with Oz, and then you know, Black Label, or whether we're doing the Pantera celebration or the Experience Hendrix thing or anything. It's like a Broadway musical. Once you get it down, it's just like that's the way it goes. Because then you have all the lighting cues and whatever. Right? It's just like and then guitar changes and everything like that, and let's not forget all the dance moves and everything like that. So it's the choreography. It basically goes according to the choreography. So whatever the dance moves are, you got to. People are showing up to see the soft shoe and the tap dancery. So and the sexiness. So like I said before, no one's really listening to anything anyway. So just as long as the dancing is okay, that's what the set is pretty much decided upon.
You were way ahead of the TikTok trends, that's for sure.
We knew it was coming.
Awesome. Thanks, Zakk. We'll see you on Sunday, December 1st at the Regency Ballroom in San Francisco with Zoso
Awesome.
and the Iron Maidens, and of course, the mighty Zakk Sabbath. Tickets are on sale
Yay!
now at access.com. That's AXS.com.